cheering for St. John's. Unfortunately, they're going to run into the Gators, who I think is the team to beat.
What? Are you kidding? What?
SGA in his next contract, $73 million a year. Yeah, you were born too early. SEC may be able to get 14 teams, and they got 14 teams.
Yeah.
Man, they're stacked, man. It's murderer's row.
Celtics sold for $6.1 billion.
Airy on the narrative. Best in class, so pray for my peers. Slingshot bullet, it's clear. Your weak shots couldn't pierce through bulletproof ears. A martyr, a menace. I'm leading horses to drink and pulling teeth like I'm feeding the dentist. Airy on the narrative.
Welcome back to another episode of The Crossover. Nev, I got a contract extension, another show. I'm extending my day-to-day contract here. Thanks to you. Thanks for helping me negotiate that.
I'm your
Appreciate
NIL guy.
Oh, man. Speaking of sales, Boston Celtics just broke about 30 minutes ago. They sold for $6.1 billion. That makes them now the most heftiest price tag on a sports franchise that's been purchased. What are your initial thoughts on the sale?
I think it's incredible, and I think it really just is a testament to where professional sports are in today's world, 2025. This is no longer our grandfather's leagues, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and for the common person out there who says these athletes make too much, here's my answer: $6.1 billion. Boston Celtics.
Wow.
Yeah.
Katie?
No, pretty amazing. I always say this. Our game is in good shape. I know we talk about the game quite a bit. We critique the game quite a bit. But the game is growing. The game is big. The revenues are there. The equity is there. And it's just good to see, it's just good to see that sports are in a good place, contrary to a lot of what people say.
Right. I mean, the original price tag in 2002 was $360 million.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a astronomical jump from that original purchase price in 2022. I'm sorry, 2002.
Yep.
So,
Well, it really just resets the market. Obviously, the Boston Celtics are a ultimate blue blood brand.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say probably them, the Lakers, the Yankees,
cornerstone franchise.
Cowboys, probably.
Right.
This is the new barometer.
Right.
For everyone else that's, for the most part, underneath them as far as an iconic brand. But you know what the pecking order is. And now you have a barometer.
Yeah. And you can understand why players are so valuable, right? Because the labor and the work that they put in, it appreciates in value, right? And so the ownership groups are benefiting from that. And it's great to see. I would love to see players be able to participate in the equity of that. The same way some corporations give, people who work for them stock options and things like that. And when they sell the company and things like that or go public, those people who have put that work in to help that brand grow get to kind of benefit from the equity.
Of course.
Right. But we don't talk about that. And I'm always pro player in regards to, getting to the bag. But like I said, it's just good for our game, and I know our game is in a healthy place.
Absolutely. And I think we had this conversation off air. When we talk about players and ownership groups, it's usually two different sides.
Mm-hmm.
Players, in sense, bring in all the revenue, but owners have all the ability to be able to say, when and kind of you're done contract-wise, if they trade you or, if they no longer value it the same, they have that option as well. So it's good to see. I agree. It would be good to see the players get some type of equity. To me, I think if it hasn't been done already, how can you do that? How would you be able to structure something like that?
Well, I mean, it's negotiated, right, through collective bargaining and things like that. I know there's going to be asks that the ownership groups have in the next CBA, right? And I think players should use their leverage as well to be able to participate in some of the growth of their work.
Right.
It's an ever-evolving process. So, you can look at it scales down and just go to the current college model NIL situation, which was, wasn't around a few years ago. Now it is. You've got to take the world as a sliding scale because it's just always evolving and changes happen and you got to change with the times. And that's why, I'm such a big proponent. I stand on profit sharing for the college athlete with the universities. I stand on it. Like I really, because it's just ownership, and in the collegiate sense, the universe, they've always made just a killing on the players' sweat.
Right.
And times change, man, and you got to adapt with those changes. And I just think that it's a sports thing, but college has become pro.
Absolutely.
The minor leagues, anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. From an investment standpoint, do you think an NBA team is now a safer bet? Seeming like if you're going to put together an investment group to buy these type of franchises, given what you've seen from now, let's say 2002, 360, you bought one. Obviously, you're not going to get a $360 million team at this point.
Right.
But who knows what it could be in the next 5 or 6 years, what you're selling some of these NBA teams for.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a great investment. Obviously, when you have gambling deals in place, television deals in place, you already have billions of dollars on the books. Right. So that money is going to come one way or another. So, yeah, I definitely think it's a good investment. And I think it's a sexy investment. I think the reason why a lot of these wealthy individuals get into this, one, it gives you more visibility. It allows you more fame. Right. And then you get in these rooms and in these spaces, in these communities where your business, right, can expand outside of basketball. So it's not just the money making side of the sports. It's it's all the other things that you do around your other businesses that you benefit from. So I think it's a great investment for people who love the game and want to keep building.
To expand on what Keon's saying, if the deal was $6.1 billion, that the selling point of the Celtics was asking for more.
Right.
Right. So you know what they think the value is. So they reached a happy median of $6.1 billion, which isn't a cheap number, but based on what the media deals are and where they're going, and with the gambling component that Keon mentioned, there's just no end.
Right.
There's no end. There's just no end. So it's just going up. It's not like everything that goes up must come down. No, this thing just keeps going up.
Yeah.
And your contracts, the player contracts, really justify that statement.
Yeah, I think I had read regarding the gambling aspect for the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. She wanted to build a brand new arena and put a casino in it. And they told her, you can't do that.
Right.
And that ties into what you were saying regarding the gambling, how much it's become an investment or a part of the game, actually, really, because you're having all these sites that are leveraging. You can Hard Rock Bet, you can Prize Picks, you can, anywhere and everywhere you can, throw down some money and bet a little something.
Like just to touch on this point. So I was just looking 2 days ago, maybe it was yesterday, on what Oklahoma City is able to offer SGA in his next contract. $73 million a year. What? Are you kidding? What? Yeah, you were born too early.
I know, man. I know.
I mean, like
20 years too soon.
Oh my God, man. 70-something million a year. They can offer him I think the deal was a 5-year, $360 something. It was just it's 70. I did the math real quick. It was $73 million a year. That is just bananas.
Yeah.
But justified, obviously, because
times.
What are they making?
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely. And it's funny you bring that point up because Luka gets to miss out on that opportunity to make that kind of money. Even though he's, most people probably consider him, historically a better player than SGA, especially at, at his age and his productivity. But yeah, man, so it's a catch-22 sometimes, right? Smaller markets have to retain their talent, right? So yeah, it's good to see. The game is in good shape. The game is healthy. It's a cash cow. We can't mess it up.
Business is business. Like there's no crying in baseball or in any other sport.
That's right.
All right, let's take a little shift now to probably the most exciting time of college basketball of the year. So we'll take a jump into our brackets. First, let's go over the first seeds. We got Auburn, Houston, Duke, Illinois. What's your take on those four number one seeds?
Auburn, Houston, not Illinois. Auburn, Houston,
my bad.
Duke, Florida.
My bad. Typo.
Okay.
I'm the one that typed it, so typo on me.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, all worthy, number one seeds, all worthy. I think all four teams deserving shot and legitimate shot to win it all. If Cooper Flagg's healthy, I think Duke is definitively, in that mix. Without the knowledge of his injuries, for me personally, I can't bet on the unknown.
Yeah. I think all the number one seeds are deserving. I don't think all the number one seeds will make it to the Final Four. I think Michigan State, in my opinion, in their bracket is going to come out, I think, over Auburn. So I'm interested to see it, but it's always surprises during this time of year. And I think that's what intrigues us as fans. It's always some upset. It's always, it's always a team who you don't expect. Injuries happen. The right team can get hot at the right time. So I'm excited for this NCAA tournament. Very excited.
Amazing. Expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
You have any Cinderellas you want to see? So a team that you've looked at the bracket and saying, I think this could be it. I think this could be one. They're hot now.
In my opinion, I think styles make fights, right? So I think St. Mary's is a team that's a sleeper. Just kind of the way that they play, the continuity that they have, the pace that they play at. I think they're going to be very difficult to beat. They're an older team as well, so they have some experience. They had a really solid year. But, as far as an underrated team, or under-the-radar team, to me, St. Mary's is probably one of those teams.
I got two teams, and unfortunately or fortunately, if they both win their first game, they'll end up meeting each other. I think Yale's really dangerous. They got an NBA player, Popper. I can't think of his name. Starts with a P, but anyway, lefty shooter. Tough. And they were there last year, Yale, and UC San Diego. And I think both teams can pull an upset, and they would be meeting each other. And I have that in my bracket. Just
Well, I know.
my money.
I copied it.
Putting my money where my mouth is.
That's right.
But there's a couple. There's man. I think this is going to be for me personally. This is the most exciting tournament that I've gotten ready to get into since probably I was locked up and had nothing better to do.
What do you think is the strongest conference? Obviously, we know the SEC has 14 teams in there.
That's
it.
That's
There's no other conference.
No.
So we got Big 10, ACC, Big 12, SEC.
SEC. Man, listen, historic. Keon and I had this conversation last week. I said, man, it's unbelievable. SEC may be able to get 14 teams, and they got 14 teams.
Yeah.
It's unprecedented. Of course, with the conference, realignment and expanding, adding Oklahoma, Texas, it gives it a, it's graded with a curve, I guess, because now it's different conference alignment. But man, they're stacked, man. It's murderer's row. Like the football SEC has translated into basketball SEC, and it is just a dominant. Get with the times, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Find yourself into the SEC if you're a university and you're not sure about where you are. That's where you want to be.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you.
So if you had to pick 116 seed that's going to upset a 1 seed, which one would it be? Just random. Just
I'd
you got to pick one. Gun to your head.
Alabama State's not beating Auburn. I mean, you got a better chance of waking up on the next podcast, and I'm 6'5". That's not happening. Norfolk State is not beating Florida. There's no chance of anyone upsetting anyone.
So basically, we can skate on all four number one.
Yeah,
seeds,
they're cruising through.
Yeah.
All four. I'm not even getting it. That's yeah. Next trick question.
Well, according to my questions, typically the 12 through 5 seeds are where you see some of the some of the stronger historical upsets.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see for those in those lower bracket games? I know on one of yours on your bracket you had Michigan losing in the first round.
I do.
I do too.
Both of you have.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
I do.
Cal San Diego plays incredible defense. They're hot as hell. No one's talking about them. They weren't even a Division I school. They finally got in, and I think they're going to stand up.
They turn you over on the defensive end, and Michigan is turnover prone.
Yeah.
So I think that's a perfect storm for them to pull an upset.
Yeah, and I'll go to answer I'll give you another one. I think Liberty beats Oregon. There's a 5-12, and I think I got them in my bracket as well.
You do.
I do, right?
I copied it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one we got to watch. We can't sleep on Colorado State.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, Colorado State got a nice squad.
over Maryland.
Is it Maryland?
No, I'm sorry, it's Memphis.
It's
Yeah,
Memphis.
I saw both. I saw both of your brackets had that one.
Yeah. I like Colorado State over Memphis as well.
Yeah. I'm really high in that 5-12 theory. Like, it proves out every year.
Yeah.
It proves out every year. And you know, you can look at the lines. You know, you could follow Vegas and use that as your barometer, and it makes you really love the underdog because they're all the 12s are getting a lot of points. You know, from a Vegas standpoint, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, don't elaborate that one. That's one of my questions.
Oh,
So what do you think is give me your top 3 underrated teams. Teams that nobody's really taking a look at, but aside from obviously your upsets.
so I would say it doesn't mean that. Listen, you know it's a roll of the dice. Keon's played in it, so he knows what that tempo and vibe feels like. You're coming into a foreign gym, different territory. You're not home base. You're playing a team from another stratosphere, typically, right? That you're not used to seeing. So anything can happen, and I don't think there's anyone with a foolproof. But I'm going to give you my 3. I'll give you. I think Drake is a very dangerous squad. I believe they're playing your squad. Drake is playing
Yep,
Missouri.
They are.
You know, and
You know,
so
I went with Mizzou.
and so
No shade to Drake.
yeah. So I think Mizzou is a really solid team, and I think if it's a feast, and I told this to Keon, I think it's a feast or famine type situation for Mizzou. They can go really deep into the tournament. They're that good. I think they're that good. If they can get by that first game, which is danger. It screams danger to me.
Yeah.
So I think Drake is a very dangerous team. I do agree with Keon. St. Mary's is a dangerous team. I already gave you my other 2, Yale and Cal San Diego. And if I had to pick one other team that I really got this vibe about, it's Liberty.
A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's just based on my little research intel that I did, and you know that doesn't mean it's right, because you know you got to be Nostradamus to see this thing
Right.
historically.
I mean, this is. I mean, traditionally I've never really done a bracket. This is the first year I've ever done it. I have a couple friends, and they're like, "Oh, let's do a bracket." I'm like, "Dude, there's so many teams. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you know?" I mean, I have a friend of mine who's just a sicko. He's just like, "No, because this guy has, worse than Nevin." He's like, "Oh, this guy's coming out of here. Trust me, this is the upset." I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
Full disclosure, I've picked Kentucky to win the pool the last 35 years.
Shock.
Until today. I picked, well, you know who I picked. Yeah, man. I can't even believe it. I hate the Gators. I hate the University of Florida.
Go Gators, baby.
But I picked them. I got, you can't bet with your heart, man. You got to bet with your head.
So when you played in the tournament, Keon, what does a lower seed have to do mentally to kind of how do they got to come into the game mentally to be able to pull off an upset?
First thing you have to do is you have to believe. It's a confidence thing. You got to believe you belong there. You got to believe that you can win. You can't come into the game, looking at the program, looking at the history, looking at the rankings, etc. You got to go in there like, man, we coming in here to get this W. And at the end of the day, it's a win or go home. And so you can, in a 1-game series, you execute the game plan, you play with confidence, and you get hot at the right time. On any given day, you can be beat.
Right.
So I think as long as they come in with the right mindset, you can beat a higher seed.
Do you think these top seeds sometimes have like a just look past game, and that's how they get caught?
I don't think anymore, because history has shown us that in this tournament, you can, higher seeds doesn't mean you're going to advance.
Right.
So I think they have to come with their A game. I think teams have to be healthy, right? And I think that's my biggest concern with Duke. That's why I'm not picking them to win at all, because Cooper's ankle. But yeah, I believe if you're a higher seed, sometimes it's a little bit more pressure. I think sometimes when you're a lower seed, you just don't give a damn. You're just coming out like, okay, I'm gonna leave it all out on the line. I'm gonna lay it all out on the line and just try and come in and get this upset.
I have one team that I did leave out when you just asked me, that because there's just so many teams. I do have one team that is like a personal sleeper to me. They could get blown out. I just got this vibe on them, and it's Akron.
Mm.
And I think they take out Arizona, and then I think they take out my sleeper Liberty. And I think Akron is in the Sweet 16.
Mm. BYU is my sleeper.
BYU's your sleeper?
Yeah.
Why are you picking Akron as a sleeper?
Why not?
Oh, it's good. What are the Vegas odds looking like for potential surprises? Well, speaking of surprises. Sorry, Mike, you good? You good? Chair's not built for you?
That I think he had Arizona winning it all. I said Akron, and he just fell over.
So, what do the lines show about potential surprises on some of these teams?
Honestly, I haven't even looked at any of the lines on the games. The only Vegas component that I am aware of is that the Gators to win it all has dropped significantly since I
Originally.
I had shared with our one of our partners, and I said, man, I think I like the Gators 2-3 weeks ago, probably 3 weeks ago, and at the time they were maybe 10 to 1, 950. I think they were like 9.5 to 1, and now they're 3.5 to 1.
Should have taken them 2 weeks ago.
Well, that's because when the public gets hot on something,
that's it.
That's it. You're done. You never want to be in with the consensus, and that's what scares me about me picking Florida to win it all. I just don't like to be lumped in, and I'm lumped in now.
Kindy, if you're Cooper Flagg, are you doing anything to get into this tournament to play, or are you just thinking about your next step of your career being the number 1 draft pick?
I think it's twofold with that. First thing is he's probably thinking more so about his teammates, right, and his commitment to Duke, right, and getting a championship to Duke, right. So I don't think he's necessarily thinking about the NBA because he knows he's an NBA prospect. He knows he's the potential number 1 pick,
right.
But you don't look at that in the moment. I believe what he's thinking about is getting as healthy as he can so he can go out and fight with his brothers and try and win a national championship.
Gotcha. What region do you guys think is going to be the most chaotic to watch, like most craziest games?
Well, I can tell you this. For me personally, the team that I really want to win it all is St. John's. I'm a huge Rick Pitino fan. I know the disservice that was done to his name through this whole investigation he went through with the Adidas and the Louis. I didn't like that at all. And he's a quality guy, and I'm a huge St. John's. So I'm a Rick Pitino supporter. So I'm cheering for St. John's. Unfortunately, they're going to run into the Gators, who I think is the team to beat.
Yeah. Right.
And that I'm going to be cheering against my own pick.
Yeah.
But you gotta go with your head, not your heart.
Yeah.
But I think that region is incredible. I think Michigan State is I think they got an easy walk, man, in that bracket in the South. But I think the West is just loaded up, and I love it. That's where I think the guns are going to be blazing. UConn won't be an easy out. 2-time back-to-back champ, even though I got them going out in the first round, but if they get through, now they're already feeling that, like, you know what, it's us against the world. We're back-to-back champ. We're here to fight. Someone's going to have to remove us. Everything becomes mindset. I think it's a loaded bracket.
South for me.
South?
Yeah, the South bracket I think is going to be the most difficult. I think even on the lower side of the region, you got some hungry teams, some talented teams that are playing well right now. Like, I know it was a big controversy with North Carolina getting in the tournament, but they played really, really well in that quote unquote like play-in style of game, and I think they won like 9 out of their last 11, right? And they have no expectations, right? So they can play fearless.
Yeah, free.
But I think the South region is going to be very difficult to get out of. Yeah, the South I think is the toughest bracket for me.
Going to that playing style, do you think a team that's playing like that, fearless and with like just free because they're in, do you think a team like that is more dangerous or more susceptible to just get the doors blown off of them?
I think when you don't have anything to lose, right? When you're the underdog, I think it's more easy for you to go out and play free. I think the teams that have a lot of the expectations, all right, if you go on a drought or you get in foul trouble or if somebody goes down, you kind of tense up a little bit. And so, like, I think the underdog always has, that that fuck it mentality,
Right.
so to
That
speak.
puncher's
Like,
chance.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you know, like all right, let's go, let's see
Yeah.
what happens.
It's so exciting, man. This is just such. This is like, this is the man. This first weekend of the 60 the March Madness is just so incredible. It's just so incredible. I think the only thing that matches it, only because I'm a big college football guy, is like what used to be New Year's Day bowl days.
Right.
You know, and that's gone now. So now you just get hyped for the playoff games and whatnot. But like, this is it, man. This is an electric time.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Do you have any cool stories from your time in the tournament?
No, I mean, we used to get a lot of handshakes, right? Walking by alumni and things like that. A little loaded handshake here and there. You know, you would get to miss some school, right? So we would have some epic battles on the PlayStation 2. I'm telling my age a little bit right now. PlayStation 2, yeah. But as far as the NCAA tournament, I didn't have great success in it. I was put out every year. Julius Peppers had a great game against us when he played for North Carolina. We got beat at the buzzer against New Mexico my freshman year. And so I only played 2 years in the NCAA tournament, and I went into the draft. But man, it's just a fun time of year. You know, the fans appreciate it. You get to go and experience a new city. Your palates get stretched a little bit because I believe that was the first time I ever had a Ruth Chris steak.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh, wow.
At the NCAA tournament. So, you know, you get exposed to different foods, different cultures, different places, different regions. And it's just a lot of fun for the fans and for the players alike.
Is that the craziest environment you've played on the collegiate level when you're in that tournament, or?
No, I mean, you play at some of these places like, you know, Lawrence, Kansas is crazy loud. Like, you have these places like that have great fan bases, right? When you come to their school, they're jumping up and down, they're painting their faces. And so sometimes like that could be, you know, you don't really feel like that home court advantage. So it's like kind of neutral sites.
Right.
So there's balanced fans. It's more difficult, in my opinion, to play at those tough, you know, college campuses more so than the NCAA tournament.
Gotcha.
Yeah, well, as far as Keon and the Ruth Chris, you had the wrong NIL guy.
I did.
Let me just tell you, man. If you were kicking it to you,
Would have been the Peter Lugas or something.
Yeah, man, Peter Luger's and then Tootsies. But anyway, we don't wait for the closeout.
We're not supposed to get him in trouble.
Yeah. So, yeah, listen, man, it's just so should I tell you my stories about my
Fire 'em up.
March? See, I didn't play, but I played.
Right.
I was behind the scenes, man. Man, you know how much money I was betting back in the day in those? Oh man, that was the best. There's nothing like being
trouble.
There was nothing like being in Vegas for March Madness that first week. It's like literally, it's like sending an alcoholic into a Walgreens liquor store. It's insane. It's the best.
Oh, geez. All right, so let's summarize before you get in any more trouble. Let's summarize your Elite Eight. So you, on your bracket, you have Auburn, Michigan State, Florida, St. John's, Duke, Alabama, Houston, and Tennessee.
Yeah, heavy SEC flavor.
I was gonna say you have a lot of SEC teams
because I believe in it that wholeheartedly. That's how I think. That's how solid I think that conference is.
So my picks for the Elite Eight is Auburn, Michigan State, Florida, St. John's, Duke, and St. Mary's, Houston, and Kentucky.
Nice.
That's where I kind of landed.
And if St. Mary's makes that final eight, he's already in crazy shape in the pool. Because he'll get a lot of points. No one's on St. Mary's to get that far. That's how you win these pools. You have one team that just takes a ride, and they're just making 8 points, 16 points as the bracket goes. That's a big call.
You see St. John's in having any chance to beat Florida? Period.
Oh yeah, you always have a chance. Keon could tell you this better than me. You know, it's just the right. Everyone's got a puncher's chance. Man.
Yeah.
You find yourself in a game with 2 minutes left. Those nerves shift heavy against the team that's expected to win. Yeah. The pressure shifts fast. Do I think St. John's? I know St. John's has a chance. They could beat anybody. And really, if you could take any one of the 1 or 2 seeds, and probably all 8 of them could potentially win the whole thing. They really can. You know, all it is your best player getting in foul trouble,
right.
An injury. Team gets smoking hot, don't miss. Right? You know, dudes get on one, they get on one. Yeah. He could tell you he played every level. anyone can be had.
Yeah. I mean, I was just taking a look at your bracket, some stuff, and I didn't go against your bracket just because you know more than I do, but I was like, I kind of like this team here, kind of like this team there. But yeah, I don't see. I mean, based on the 8 that we have here, I don't see a lot of upsets. I feel like a lot of favorites are going to take that as they come through.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good tournament, man. It's from top to bottom, man. It's really, really solid. Like I don't think some teams coming out of nowhere to win this thing. This is going to be like chalk. This is going to be chalk talk, man. Like it's going to be one of those 1 or 2 seeds is going to win this thing.
Yeah, I agree. I pretty much in my final 4, I have all 1 seeds and Michigan State, and they're a 2 seed.
It's going to take some unreal out of body for someone outside one of those 1 or 2 seeds to win this thing, in my opinion.
Gotcha. So tournament winner for you is
the Gators.
Yeah, I'm gonna go if Cooper is healthy, I'll say Duke, but that's too. We don't know right now, so I'm gonna go with the Gators as well. Stay in Florida.
I think I'm gonna take. To me, it goes back to football. I'm just not a Gator fan. Mike's a Gator fan. I just like going against Mike. I think I'm gonna take the Blue Devils here.
Okay.
Even
you're not. I mean, you're not an outlier.
no, I know, but obviously the uncertainty of the Cooper Flagg injury and things like that. I still think that he musters it up and he figures it out. I like Duke. I've always loved Duke ever since the 90s. Even though I'm still a Hurricane at heart, but yeah, I got Duke winning this whole thing.
Yeah.
I hope.
I know, Mike. Whatever.
Should be fun though.
Yeah, listen, it's great. Look, I hope I lose my pick. I really hope St. John's wins it all. But I just think Florida's really consistent. They're really deep, and I hate them.
Mike, you wanted to add something? Because I saw you just chomping at the bit.
Not
back there.
necessarily add something, but about your Cooper Flagg, I think even if he comes back, he's gonna be thinking about his future too. So even then, I think he's 100%, either physically or mentally. He's not gonna be 100% at one point. So
I think he's physically and mentally going to dunk on everybody.
I can't wait for us to talk next week and see where we stand in this pool.
I mean, Monday we'll be right back.
boom,
I mean,
everybody's
I
bracket.
don't know if my contract's going to be extended that long, but I will be on the other side of the camera. Worst case scenario. But great talk today. I can't wait to see what happens with these games. Stay tuned to our channels. We'll definitely be posting out some of our upsets if there's any, and stuff like that.
Already.
Sounds great, man. Sounds great. Love it.
Carry on the narrative. Best in class, so pray for my peers. Slingshot bullet, it's clear. Your weak shots couldn't pierce through bulletproof ears. A martyr, a menace. I'm leading horses to drink and pulling teeth like I'm feeding the dentist. Carry on the narrative.